गुड मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट्स, हाउ यू ऑल आर? फाइन। आज हम लेसन पढ़ने जा रहे हैं एयर अराउंड अस, हमारे आसपास की हवा, हमारे चारों तरफ का वातावरण। वी हैव लर्नड इन चैप्टर 9 दैट ऑल लिविंग थिंग्स रिक्वायर एयर, बट हैव यू एवर सीन एयर? हमने चैप्टर 9 में एयर के बारे में पढ़ा था, पर क्या आप लोगों ने हवा को देखा है? You might not have seen air, but surely you must have felt its presence in so many ways. You notice it when the leaves of the trees rustles or the clothes hanging on the clothesline sway. Pages of an open book begin fluttering when the fan is switched on. The moving air makes it possible for you to fly your kite. Do you remember activity 3 in chapter 5, in which you separated the sand and sawdust by winnowing? Winnowing is more effective in moving air. You may have noticed that during storms, the winds blow at a very high speed. It may even uproot trees and blow off the rooftops. Have you ever played with a firki? Move it a little. Okay. Move it a little back and forth. Observe it happens. Does the firki rotate? What makes a firki rotate? Moving air, isn't it? Have you seen a weathercock? It shows the direction in which the air is moving at the place. Let us a firki or own following instructions. Hold the stick or the firki and place it in different direction and open the area. 15.1. Is air present everywhere around us? Close your fist. What do you have in it? Nothing. Try the following activity to find out. Activity 2. Take an empty bottle, open bottle. It is really empty, or does it have something inside? Turn it upside down. Is something inside it now? Now dip the open mouth of the bottle into the bucket filled with water as shown in figure. 15.4. Observe the bottle. Does water enter the bottle? Now tilt the bottle slightly. Does the water now enter the bottle? Do you see bubbles coming out of the bottle or hear any bubbly sound? Can you now guess what was in the bottle? Yes, you are right. It is air that was present in the bottle. The bottle was not empty at all. In fact, it was filled completely with air even when you turn it upside down. That is why you notice that water does not enter the bottle when it pushed in an inverted position, as there was no space for air to escape. When the bottle was tilted, the air was able to come out in the form of bubbles, and water filled up the empty space that the air has occupied. This activity shows that air occupies space. It fills all the space in the bottle. It is present everywhere around us. Air has no color and one can see through it. Is transparent. Our earth is surrounded by the thin layer of air. This layer extends up to many kilometers above the surface of the earth and is called atmosphere. As we move higher in the atmosphere, the air gets rare. Now, can you think mountaineer carry oxygen cylinder with them while climbing high mountains? 15.2. What is air made up of? Until the 18th century people thought that air was just one substance. Experiments have proved that it is really not so. Air is a mixture of many gases. What kind of a mixture it is? Let us find out about some of the major components of this mixture one by one. Water vapor. We have learnt earlier that air contains water vapor. We also saw that when air comes in contact with a cool surface, it condenses and drops of water appear on the cooled surfaces. The presence of water vapor in the air is important for the water cycle in nature. Oxygen. In the presence of your teacher, fix two small candles of the same length on a table. Light both the candle. Cover one of the candle with a inverted glass tumbler. Observe both the candle carefully. Do both the candles continue to burn or go off? You must have observed that the candle covered with glass tumbler got extinguished after some time, whereas the other candle continued burning. What can be the reason for this? Think about it. It seems that the candle got extinguished because the component inside of the glass tumbler which supported burning is limited. Most of the component is used by the burning candles. However, the other candle is getting continued supply of air. This component of air which supports burning is known as oxygen. Nitrogen. In activity 3, did you observe that air is still present in the glass bottle even after the candle the candle blew out? This indicates the presence of some component in the air which does not support burning. The major part of air which does not support burning candle is nitrogen. दो कैंडल्स रखेंगे, दोनों को साथ में जलाएंगे, बट एक कैंडल के ऊपर हम लोग ग्लास को कवर कर देंगे, ठीक है, और दूसरे को ऐसे रखेंगे. अब आपको पता है कि जिस के ऊपर हम ग्लास रखेंगे वो थोड़ी देर जलेगी और उसके बाद में बंद हो जाएगी, और जो दूसरा जो कैंडल है जो बाहर है विदाउट ग्लास के, वो जलती जाएगी. क्यों? क्योंकि जो एयर है, जो हवा है, वो अग्नि जो आग है उसकी अच्छी जो है वो कैपेसिटर है, ठीक है. वो आग कहते हैं ना, हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि हम क्यों बात को और हवा दे रहा है, आग को हवा दे रहा है ना. तो यानी अगर हम वो आग को अच्छा खासा बर्निंग जो है वो बर्निंग को और सपोर्ट करती है. और ग्लास के अंदर क्या था? नाइट्रोजन होता है, यानी बंद ग्लास जो है तो वो उसको सपोर्ट कर रही है. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. In a closed room, if there is some material that is burning, you may have felt suffocation. This is due to excess of carbon dioxide that may be accumulating in the room. As the burning continues, carbon dioxide makes up a small component of the air around us. Plants and animals consumes oxygen for respiration and produce carbon dioxide. Plant and animal matter also consumes oxygen on burning and produce mainly carbon dioxide and a few other gases. It is advisable not to burn dry leaves and discarded remains of the crop which pollute our surroundings. Dust and smoke. The burning of fuel also produce smoke. Smoke contains a few gases and fine dust particles and is often harmful. That is why you see long chimneys in factories. This takes the harmful smoke and gases away from our noses but brings it closer to the birds flying up in the sky. Dust particle particles are always present in the air. Find a sunny room in your school home. Close all the doors and windows with curtains pulled down to make the room dark. Now open the door or a window facing the sun just a little in such a way that is allow sunlight to enter the room only through a slit. Look carefully at the incoming beam of sunlight. Do you see some tiny shining particles moving in the beam of sunlight? What are these particles? During winters, you might have observed similar beam of sunlight filter through the trees in which dust particles appear to dance merrily around. This shows that air also contains dust particles. The presence of dust particles in air varies from time to time and from place to place. From place to place. Yes, we inhale we inhale air when we breathe through our nostrils. Fine hair and mucus are present inside the nose to prevent dust particles from getting into the respiratory systems. Do you recall being scolded by your parents when you breathe through your mouth? If you do that, harmful dust particles may enter your body. We may conclude then that air contains some gases, water vapor, and dust particles. Air the gases in the gases in the air, mainly nitrogen, oxygen, a small amount of carbon dioxide, and many other gases. However, there may be some variations in the compositions of air from place to place. We see that air contains mostly nitrogen and oxygen. In fact, these two gases together make up 99% of the air. ये देखो, नाइट्रोजन इतना सारा हिस्सा है और ऑक्सीजन इतना कम, और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का ये कंपोजिशन ऑफ द एयर फिगर 15.9 में देखिए. The remaining 1% is constituted by carbon dioxide and a few other gases are and water vapor. Okay. Now, how does oxygen become available to animals and plants living in water and soil? Take some water in a glass or metal container. Heat it slowly on a tripod stand. Well, before the water begins to boil, look carefully at the inner surface of the container. Do you see tiny bubbles on the inside? These bubbles come from the air dissolved in water. When you heat the water to begin with, the air dissolved in it escapes. As you continue heating, the water itself turns into vapor and finally begins to boil. We learned in chapter 8 and 9 that the animal living in the water use the dissolved oxygen in water. The organism that lives in soil need oxygen to respire, isn't it? How it they get the air they need for the respiration? Take a lump of dry soil in a beaker or a glass. Add water to it and note what happens. Do you see bubbles coming out from the soil? These bubbles indicate the presence of air in the soil. When the water is poured on the lump of soil, it's displaced the air which is seen in the form of bubbles. The organisms that live inside the soil and the plant roots respired. The plants respired in this air. A lot of burrows and holes are formed in deep and soil by the animals living in the soil. These burrows also make space available for air to move in and out of the soil. However, when it rains heavily, water fill up all the spaces occupied by the air in the soil. In the situation, animals living in the soil have to come out फॉर रेस्पिरेशंस. जब बहुत तेज़ बारिश होती है ना बेटा, तो क्या होता है, पानी ज़मीन के अंदर जाता है, तो फिर जो ज़मीन में रहने वाले जो जीव जंतु जो मिट्टी के अंदर रहते हैं वो सांस कैसे लेंगे, तो फिर उनको क्या होता है, सांस लेने के लिए, रेस्पिरेशन करने के लिए उनको उनके बाहर आना पड़ता है. तो दैट इज़ वाई जो अर्थवर्म होते हैं वो सारे जो कहते हैं ना बारिश होती है तो सब कीड़े मकोड़े बाहर आने लग जाते हैं, तो वो इस तरीके से बाहर आते हैं. ठीक है. और जो प्लांट्स हैं वो फोटोसिंथेसिस के ज़रिए, आपको मैंने एक बार फोटोसिंथेसिस के बारे में बताया था, वो फोटोसिंथेसिस के ज़रिए जो है अपनी सांस की जो श्वसन क्रिया जो है, वो सांस लेने की जो क्रिया है वो पूरी करते हैं. ठीक है. तो फोटोसिंथेसिस क्या होता है, फोटोसिंथेसिस होता है कि जहाँ पर वो सूरज की किरणों से अपने आप को जो है वो एनर्जी दे रहे होते हैं. ठीक है. और एनर्जी दे रहे होते हैं तो क्या होता है, वहाँ से उनको जो है एनर्जी मिलती है. ठीक है ना. अब यहाँ पर देखिए नेक्स्ट है ये, यहाँ पे वी कैन नाउ अप्रिशिएट हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट एयर फॉर लाइफ ऑन अर्थ. आर देयर एनी अदर यूजेस ऑफ एयर? हैव यू हियर्ड अबाउट विंड मिल? अब विंड मिल सबने देखी है ना. हाँ. हाउ इज़ द ऑक्सीजन इन द एटमोसफेयर रिप्लेस्ड? देखो इन चैप्टर, अब इसमें अपन ने जो है फोटोसिंथेसिस के बारे में पढ़ा है. ठीक है. द विंड मिल रोटेट. द विंड मिल इज़ यूज टू ड्रॉ वाटर फ्रॉम ट्यूबवेल्स एंड टू रन फ्लोर मिल्स. विंड मिल्स आर ऑल्सो यूज टू जनरेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. एयर हेल्प्स इन द मूवमेंट ऑफ सेलिंग yachts, gliders, parachutes and aeroplanes. Birds, bats and insects can fly due to the presence of air. Air also help in the dispersal of seeds and pollen of flowers of several plants. Air plays an important role in water cycle. आपको वाटर साइकिल भी आपको पता है, वाटर साइकिल आपने पढ़ रखा है ना. क्या होता है, हवा से जो है भाप बनती है, भाप से बादल बनते हैं और बादल से बारिश होती है ना. चलिए, अब किसी को कुछ भी नहीं समझ में आता है तो इस चैप्टर को एक बार ध्यान से पढ़ेंगे. किसी को कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम होती है तो फील फ्री आस्क मी. इसके कीवर्ड्स लिखेंगे और इसको लर्न करेंगे. ठीक है. नाउ एक बार इसको ध्यान से पूरे चैप्टर को एक बार देख लीजिए. इसमें जो मेन चीज़ें हैं एक बार मैं फिर से आपको 1 बाय 1 बता देती हूँ. ध्यान से देखिए. ठीक है. हम फर्स्ट से वापस हम फर्स्ट पे जा रहे हैं. देखो हमारे चैप्टर का नाम है एयर अराउंड अस. फिर एयर अराउंड अस में हमने पढ़ा सबसे फर्स्ट इज़ एयर प्रेजेंट एवरीवेयर अराउंड अस. फिर व्हाट इज़ एयर मेड अप ऑफ? वाटर वेपर, ऑक्सीजन, है ना, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, डस्ट एंड स्मोक के बारे में पढ़ा. नाइट्रोजन के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं. फिर उसके बाद हमने पढ़ा किसके बारे में बेटा, कि ऑक्सीजन जो है वो कैसे प्लांट्स और एनिमल के लिए अवेलेबल होती है. फिर उसके बाद में हमने पढ़ा है विंड मिल के बारे में, और हमने पढ़ा कि एटमॉस्फेयर में जो है ऑक्सीजन रिप्लेस कैसे होती है. तो और ये अब इसके कीवर्ड्स है जो आपको लिखने हैं. किसी को कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होती है फील फ्री आस्क मी. नाउ बाय.